Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Delhi Birth Network Birth Story Circle. I'm Neha Misra, and I'm a mom of two and a Lamaze childbirth educator and a birth doula. I'm also a member of the Delhi Birth Network. And today is the first day of the World Breastfeeding Week. And we thought, what better way to start than to hear a real birth and breastfeeding story from this lovely couple who we have with us, Aparna and Atul. They have two little ones who are around 2 years and just a few months old. And Aparna is still breastfeeding both of them. So I thought it'll be wonderful to hear a little about her journey and what it's been like for her. So let's start. Aparna, Atul, if you can just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves and your family before we start.
Hi, thank you for having us on this platform, Neha. It's really a privilege, to be able to talk about this because when we started off on our parenting journey, all of this just seemed very unreal. So while we'll come to the details of how we went about things, but we'll just quickly introduce ourselves. So my name is Aparna. I've been from Delhi forever, and so I am now a mom of two, actually two under two. And right now I'm on a sabbatical. I was previously working in the social development sector, but the kids and the babies, they completely keep me busy. So yeah, and I'll let Atul introduce himself now.
Right. So thank you, Neha. Neha, I am Atul, and I'm again from Delhi. And I am from the IT background. So I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own, little shop, in which we are working on information security, and related areas. And that gives me a bit of flexibility sometimes, and that also pulls me into like long hours of work. So it's a blessing and and a issue, a lot of times. Yeah. So that's what we are coming from. And yeah, it's great to really be talking about breastfeeding and healthy childbirth and everything on this platform. So thanks for having us.
Thanks so much. And I know, Atul, you're a very hands-on dad. And so it's also exciting to hear and to hear from you as well. So let's start from, I know your story will start much before that, but let's start this conversation, say, from the time you came to know that you're pregnant for the second time. So what was that like when you found out you're having another child? What was the experience like? Your younger one, your older one was still quite young. So what did you go through during your pregnancy? Tell us something about that.
So I'll take the advantage of going first. Okay, so Neha, Avni had just turned 12 months. Like we just had like a birthday celebration for Avni for her first birthday, and then we went on a Europe trip. And all this while, I did not know that I was pregnant. But after coming back, I realized that there is something going on, and then we went for the checkup and we went for the test. That's when I realized I'm pregnant with our second child. With Avni, the thing is that I was breastfeeding her, and like I started breastfeeding her from day one. She was like very initially in the hospital staff had introduced her to formula, but after that she was completely directly being breastfed. The very first thought that came to my mind when I was pregnant with our second child was that will I have to stop my breastfeeding journey? And because everyone else around, including our immediate healthcare professionals, they suggested that I stop breastfeeding the elder one in my pregnancy journey. But with the relevant information and the correct experience sharing that I could receive, so we did continue with the breastfeeding as well during my second pregnancy.
So, it was, definitely it was I won't say it wasn't a shock. It was definitely a shock, when we came to know that we are, expecting to be parents again. And, 1 year, Avni was just 1 year. It's not a lot of, she's not, obviously she was young. And, we were not very sure about, how to process this and how to go about this. And this definitely included a lot of we had a lot of reservations. We wanted to, we had thought that Avni would grow up and she would be more independent. We'll have our more, time, with us. And, that was obviously one of the things. And breastfeeding was definitely one of the very important considerations. Definitely the breastfeeding became a, an important issue for us to understand how exactly can we keep on doing it.
Yeah.
Because, during the pregnancy as well, so Avni is still breastfeeding, right? And Avni is really, a breastfed girl. She's really, very keen, very excited to, always breastfeed. And it was very...
You ask her, it's
Yes.
Friendship's Day on Sunday. If you ask her who's your best friend, she'll say, Mama Dudu is my best friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so that was very important for us, and with the support of our community and everyone, we decided and we thought that yes, it's easy. So for me, it's very easy to say that yes, we will go on and continue on the breastfeeding journey, because I really don't have to do it myself, right? But I think Aparna did definitely took a very brave stand. Brave, not just because it's taxing on the body, but it's also going against the conventional wisdom, and not just our well-wishers, but it's also with the Medicare professionals, right? So it kind of goes against that. They've all stated that the younger one, the one who's developing now, he'll not get enough. She would not get calcium. The nutrients would be a problem. The lot of issues will come up, but but again, Aparna took this very right spirit, and she did a lot of research. She reached out to the community, and we kind of understood that this is a misnomer. This is not really the case, and it's very much possible to really breastfeed while you're pregnant and while the younger one is little, and with the right nutrition and everything, it's something that really can be tackled. So yeah,
I would say, Atul, you're saying you didn't have a role to play, but I think that the partner being supportive makes a huge difference. You are there with her in the journey, you're supporting what she believes in, and you both are making these choices together. I'm sure that it really helped her to make these choices. So it is not that just because you're not the one who's feeding, it doesn't mean that you don't have a role to play. So I think it's really, really important, and that's why it's good to have you here. Aparna, do you also want to tell us a little bit about that experience through your pregnancy? What was it like?
Yes. Before like I start answering that, Neha, it's really important that I pick up from what Atul said, that we got the right information from the community. So this community, I would call this, of course, like it says that, it's a very common saying, it takes a village to raise a child. For us, honestly, this village was not present in real, like except for our immediate family members who just went by whatever we said. So we had to look out for a lot of support, and in the virtual world, that's where we found out about this group, Breastfeeding Support for Indian Mothers. It's a Facebook group. It's a peer-to-peer support group, and I have been a member of this group ever since I conceived my first child. So of course it helped me while I was breastfeeding Avni in the early days, but also the moment I got pregnant and I had like this list of queries that how will I be able to continue, it's through this community and its members that I got to know that it's an absolutely normal thing. Like people have been doing it in the past. It's just that now it's made to look like such a big task.
Our grandmother's generation used to do it without thinking. They used to have babies more.
Yeah, they used to have, like you're talking about tandem feeding. They were feeding like 3 kids at one point of time.
Sometimes even not their children, but their children or their,
Yes, absolutely. So, Neha, because it was made to look like such a big thing. So today when I, after my delivery of my second child, when somebody asks me what is the most challenging thing you have done, I say that I have breastfed my toddler at 42 weeks of pregnancy. So while I was pregnant with my second child at 42 weeks, I have breastfed my toddler. So it's by far the most challenging thing that I've done. So it's not, I'm not talking about the physical, pain or anything else, but it's just the whole environment, like the way it was put out to me that, oh, you are going against the norm. And I was honestly, told things like, if you continue breastfeeding, no, your little one will not grow.
And that you will have a preterm birth.
Yes, and you'll have a preterm birth.
Right.
And actually, thanks to you, Neha, when we conducted the classes with you, the Lamaze classes that you, the one-on-one session that you had with us, it was you who explained us why people relate breastfeeding with early labor.
Right.
So,
You will get your hormones.
yeah, you explained us how
Whole
hormones
marathon.
work, the whole marathon. When the baby wants to come out, how does that work?
Yes.
So,
I mean, nature has a beautiful design for these
Right.
things. We've just
Right.
become so disconnected and distrusting of it that
Right.
we have to fight to actually be able to do something that is so natural.
That's
So
true.
it's
Yeah.
amazing how you really trusted that, stayed with that, got the right information, and did what you believed was right. So lovely. Tell me also a little bit about what challenges you faced physically, because a lot of people believe that physically during your pregnancy to be feeding it's very difficult. So did you experience any physical challenges?
Yeah.
How did you handle them?
So, Neha, the biggest thing was that while I was pregnant, because of the game that the hormones play, I had lot of nursing aversions. And it is very normal for a pregnant mother to go through, anyways, a lot of mood swings, and with a breastfeeding toddler who would just keep on latching on, and since post 1 year the child starts going out to play, the tendency to fall ill also increases. So during my pregnancy, my toddler used to fall ill so much that there were times like, and especially after 1 year, a lot of food rejections that these babies go through. So she had just turned one, lot of food rejections, lot of times she used to fall ill, and all that she was feeding on was the breast milk. And now on top of it, I was having a lot of nursing aversions, and also your since the hormones play in such a manner that your breasts are getting prepared to make milk for the second child. The breasts were very tender, very very sensitive to touch. So now imagine a toddler being latched on, so that was a bit of discomfort. But again, I would just here the support of the partner was so important, because Atul used to understand that I'm going through nursing aversions, and he could with his help I could night wean Avni at 18 months. So that gave me a lot of relief, because during the night times he could take care of her, he could make her have sips of water, pat her back to sleep, and we could night wean Avni at 18 months of age. And otherwise also on days when I was having aversions, I could get some self-care time, thanks to Atul and of course the rest of the extended family.
I'm really glad you say that, because we don't want to only talk of an ideal.
Yeah.
Yes, in an ideal world, you want to completely be able to breastfeed Avni as much as she wants. But in the real world, it's not easy. You're pregnant, you're going through something physically, and it's important for you to find that balance where you take care of yourself, you take care of the baby in your womb, and you also offer that support to your toddler, and striking that balance, keeping all the three people equally as important: the older child, your child in the womb, and yourself. So it's important to find that balance, and that is different for everyone. Everyone finds a different solution to be able to deal with these challenges.
So actually, Neha, this is just exactly what you said. This is not to glorify how bravely I did it. It's more than it's not also that because Avni. So Avni, my elder one, she loves food, and she eats very well. By the time I was pregnant with my second child, she was eating very well. It's not that because she wasn't eating, so therefore I thought I should continue breastfeeding. It's none of those things.
Yes.
More than her need, I felt more than her need, it was my emotional need to be able to continue breastfeeding her. It's not that, and also she's not one of those, babies who are very clingy. Like, babies would come to you when they are in discomfort. They would come to you when they're sleepy, when they're hungry, they would come to you. But I stay in a joint setup, and it would have been easy to even wean her off.
Yeah.
But more than, more than Avni's physical, and health needs, it was more so about my emotional need to be able to continue this breastfeeding journey with her.
Yeah.
And trust me, Neha, it's one of the best decisions I made, because I did not realize it back then when I was pregnant. But when we had our second child with us, the very early newborn days, I could see Avni fighting with so much of, discomfort of just being, of just sharing her mother with someone else, a lot of big emotions, a lot of meltdowns. It's during those days that I, thanked ourselves to be able to continue that breastfeeding journey, because it was only the breastfeeding dudu, times that Avni could really connect back with me. So all her insecurities could be taken care of.
Absolutely. Breastfeeding is not just about the nutrition that the milk gives.
Yeah.
It is about the connection and bond between the mother and child, and it's amazing how you say that you took care of what you needed, and you continued to have that connection with your baby through breastfeeding, and how it helped you. It helped her actually to transition from being the only child to being
Right.
one of two. So it's amazing.
Yeah, actually, Neha, there are a lot of things that I realized, like, people just keep on building up myths one after another. Like, I was told, don't pick up your elder child while you're pregnant, otherwise it will push the baby down. Don't breastfeed. Don't breastfeed while lying down. There was no other way I could have breastfed. So, like, so many things, myths on myths, they keep on building up. In fact, when my labor pain started for my second pregnancy, like, as you suggested that, a bath, a hot shower can really help. After that, I clearly remember breastfeeding Avni before leaving for the hospital.
Yeah.
So, and nothing gave me more happiness, because I knew that I'm going to come back, and, we'll pick it up from there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing that. I'm sure it's going to be very useful for a lot of people to hear.
Yeah.
So tell me, how was it like with both of them together? I mean, breastfeeding, two babies, one newborn baby. The needs of a newborn baby are different, and they're, of course, very demanding at that age. And then a toddler is demanding in a different sense, especially when, now she has to share, like you said. So what was it like balancing it for you physically and emotionally?
Emotionally, it was very draining, Neha, to say the least, because Avni would not understand. Like, for the initial, at least good 6 to 8 weeks, she would not understand who this tiny human is and why is he continuously latched on to mama. And I also, of course, with help of Atul, like, we decided that we are never going to breastfeed our younger one in a closed room. We were very clear, like, that let Avni be present, let her know that this is the new normal. This is the new normal. So it's just that a lot of times, so like I was saying, to say the least, it was emotionally very draining, very, very draining. And but Atul and I had decided that we are never going to hide away and breastfeed our younger one, because that will create a lot of insecurity in Avni's mind. So what we used to do is, while I was feeding, I used to feed the younger one. Atul would keep her engaged, along with my, on my bedside. Some books we used to give her, some drawing things she used to do, some puzzle games she used to play. And we just wanted to let her know that the baby is here to stay, and the baby will be here. And but I would say there are times that she still argues, like, when both of them want to breastfeed. So Avni is more like, she doesn't want to feed like because she's hungry or something, but just out of love to mama, and just the feeling of snuggling into me. She would still, the moment she sees me starting to breastfeed the younger one, she'd be like, I also want mama to do now. I also want. So it's only now that Avir, our younger one, he's turning 5 months old. It's only now that she started to realize that, okay, mama will first feed Bhaiya, mama will first feed Avir, and then mama will feed Avir. And never have I refused to her. There have been times, Neha, if I can recall, during the newborn days, Avni used to feed like 8 to 11 times a day, and my newborn was feeding 8 to 9 times a day. So so the frequency of Avni,
So
breastfeeding
I'm
was a
sure
lot.
a common question that would pop in a lot of people's mind is, then what about milk supply?
Yeah. So we actually laugh about it because it's such a thing, Neha. Again, there are so many myths around it. Like abhi to, actually I would let Atul answer this question because he answers it better to people. For all those people who ask me, like in the neighborhood,
बेबी के लिए दूध कम हो जाएगा.
So Atul, why don't you answer this?
In fact, we struggle with oversupply, So that's why we laugh, because it's such a myth that the milk just goes away. The older one will take whatever is rightfully the little ones, and so many things around, right? But it was, in fact, because Avni, was feeding so well. I think even while Avir, our little one was very young, in fact, right out to the hospital, a lot of parents, would probably, relate to this, that, getting the first milk supply, is kind of challenging, right? But we didn't have to face that because she was continuously breastfeeding. So that was a big plus. And after that, I think Avni was stimulating, Aparna's breastfeeding in such a way that there was never lack of supply. In fact, we had to deal with oversupply issues, to be honest, right? So but at the same time, it's very, very important that the mother, keeps on, doing the right nutritional, checks and everything. That's absolutely very important. Absolutely. Not to say that it can't have a toll on your body. It definitely can do that, but it's something which is perfectly natural. It's perfectly manageable, And in fact, I think as a holistic exercise, it's as and also to add on what Aparna said about, of me complaining, about, having Mama Dudu. In fact, it's nowadays, she sees Avir crying out. She in fact offers that, Mama, please feed her, him, your Dudu. Yeah. So it's a good emotional. So as you rightly said, it's not just the physical or the nutritional need. It's also the emotional need. I think breastfeeding has been the primary way through which our younger ones probably connected. Avni could probably feel that this little man is also a part of our closer circle, right? Because he also feeds from Mama. I think that's how she could also relate. So it's been incredibly rewarding to us in all senses. Yeah.
So Neha, just wanted to add on to what Atul said with regards to supply. So I'm able to say this because I know that a lot of mothers, like almost every new parent, has that thing that, my wife is not producing enough. My bahu, she's not producing enough. Yes. Her milk is insufficient. The mother herself says that, doodh aa nahi raha, doodh hai hi nahi. I try to pinch the breast and see there is no milk. So therefore my child remains hungry. The child keeps crying. So just wanted to take a minute to highlight this, that there are multiple reasons why a baby cries. Milk supply is not always the reason. And milk supply works on a very simple rule of demand and supply. The more the baby sucks, the more milk a mother makes. So it works on that simple rule. And I'm able to say this because I work as a volunteer with BSIM, and almost every new parent has that, query. And at BSIM, we are trying to help people, encourage the new parents, not just parents, but we're also trying to educate pediatricians and mother-in-laws and husbands. Because again, I'll recall what we started off by saying, that it takes a village to raise a child. a lot of times pediatricians or your own gynecologist, like I was turned down by my gynecologist, or her team actually, not the main gynecologist, but her team, who kept, saying that don't breastfeed or else your
In fact,
little one
I
will
remember
suffer.
that being a very, I think we discussed that with you as well, and you
Yeah.
actually helped Aparna a lot on that. But just to recall that, Aparna was, we lost faith in the team of the gynecologist for a little while, because it was a mean thing to say in the sense wherein, they mentioned that you're not doing, fair, you're not being fair to your, the little one who's growing up, and that was, as parents, that's probably the last thing that you want to hear, right?
That's true.
But what Aparna is saying is that it takes a village to raise your children. But unfortunately, the village, people of the village are not so aware sometimes. So that's why you have to look a bit further and you have to really educate yourself to really be able to
And our
as
second child,
parents, we have to find our own village. Basically, we have to look
you're right.
for the people who will support you in the way that you want to be supported.
Correct.
and just for records, like our second child, he was born as a healthy child with a weight of 3.8 kgs. So it's not that I was breastfeeding Avni, so the child inside could not develop. There's nothing of that sort. He was born as a healthy child. So at a good weight. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you, Neha. Just would like to add that it really helped us bond well as a family, because now even if my younger one Avir is in a different room crying for milk or anything, Avni would try her best to either take me there or bring her baby brother to me, asking me to breastfeed him first. So
I'm sure that this is something that will go a long way for Avani as a girl when she grows up. Her understanding of what breastfeeding means when she's maybe feeding her children. There is the effect of this is not only on long-term physical health. Of course, they are both breastfeeding. They're both getting a lot of antibodies from you, but emotional relationships also are important, and the right perspective of breastfeeding is important, and those benefits are often not seen, but they are really important.
Just to add, Neha, since this is going to have a lot of viewers, and it's a part of the birthing network and also breastfeeding week. So mother's milk is so magical. It gets tailored to Avni's requirement as well as to Avir's requirement.
Right.
So while I was breastfeeding both of them, Avni, my elder one, she had an oral thrush. And I continued breastfeeding both of them. So it helped her recover very well, and Avir did not catch it from her. So there are such little things that we tend to get disoriented, that oh, now what will happen.
It is such an intelligent system. It doesn't cease to fascinate.
It's very fascinating. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
So, and just to add, Neha, on the last notes, again on the village part, I think a lot of people, because I also, Aparna keeps telling me about the different queries that keep coming in, and in our own friends or our relatives, we keep having this, discussions and thoughts that a lot of times, our parents, or our friends, who are not really very much aware on these issues. If we just talk to them, if we tell them without hesitation, I think what's more important is that breastfeeding is something which even I was guilty of this with our first child, Avni. I was quite conscious of the fact that Aparna used to, when she was breastfeeding in public, it was not very comfortable for me. But I think she simply gave me an example. Imagine your baby having a food inside a box, right? It's not fair for the baby, right? And I could really relate to that. So I think if we just have that stigma out, and we can just talk to our parents, so our parents are very, very supporting. Our family is very supporting. But Aparna has that cases wherein she, she really told a lot of people of my parents' age, who have younger grandparents coming in, she told them very openly about this fact, and they could just relate, because it's not that they've not gone through this. It's as you said, it's a very old natural thing, but it's just been lost, I think, in the last probably few years, right? And we just need to kind of revive this. We just need to tell them about this openly, that this is very normal, this is natural, and this is the best things that we can actually give our little ones. Right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think Atul should start a dad support group.
Yeah, yeah.
Really be able to support dads with how they can support their their partners with breastfeeding. That's my suggestion for you, Atul.
I can definitely try.
And Neha, just on a parting note, you have been very helpful all this while. If I may just put this on records, like despite taking Lamaze classes from you and being so prepared for the labor, and you prepared him almost for being my doula. And despite all of that, you are aware that we had to rush for an emergency cesarean because the baby had passed meconium and the baby inside was in distress. Not even for a second did you show any disappointment from us, and you were with us throughout.
And we were not guilty about it.
There is no disappointment.
Exactly. And, we didn't feel guilty at all. I think the best part about it was, we obviously, sometimes, going against the norm can be polarizing, right? So it wasn't the case. It wasn't that only natural is good, natural good and cesarean bad.
In fact, now that since we're talking about this, it's the same for breastfeeding as well. Breastfeeding should be beneficial and comfortable for both the mother and the baby. And if for some reason someone is unable to breastfeed, it is not about being guilty or disappointed. It is about
we should not be judgmental.
Making whatever choices you think are right for you and for your baby. And that's the thing. That's the thing about a community. We are here to support each other, to share good information, to share real experiences. And every individual is fully capable of making the choices that are right for them.
True. Yes. You're very right. In fact, there's no demonizing formula. There's no demonizing anything. It's just about making choices, and and everyone has to see what they can live with. It's not a one-day affair. It's not a week's affair. It has to go on for some years. They have to make it a part of our life. If you're not able to do that, they're definitely fallbacks. But it's very important we look at them as fallbacks, not as primary ways. I think that's what is probably going wrong. But yeah. So, that's definitely Thanks a lot.
And thank you, Neha, for being a part of our, pregnancy journey.
I'm so glad that we got to hear your story, and I am very sure that it will really inspire a lot of people. Thanks so much, both of you. And I think it's amazing. You guys are doing such a good job for yourselves as parents, for both your children, and as a family unit. Breastfeeding is something that really brings the whole family together. It's not just about putting food in the baby's mouth. And your story illustrates that so well. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to be able to share this for the Breastfeeding Week.
Thank you, and happy World Breastfeeding Week to everyone. To you and to the community. And like they say, let the tribe grow. So let's hope that our tribe grows.
Thanks so much.
Okay, bye.